Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Portia Sterling and thanks for tuning in because I know that there's a lot going on today. You could have been doing anything. So if you're watching this, I just appreciate it, definitely. I made a video where I was talking about like the rapture that was supposed to be happening. It was all jokes. So I'm sorry if I got under anybody, like if I offended anybody, like my bad. I was just joking around, honestly. I don't, you know what I mean? Like the idea of people just like floating away is, who knows? Like, honestly, I've never sat and been like, I know the answers, because at the end of the day, we all come into this life just as dumb as just as ignorant to things as anybody. Like nobody knows anything. We're all making it up as we go along. So I have no idea. I can't even speak to that. But what I will say is that regardless to if that's a thing and if that's happening, what I have noticed is that there definitely seems to be a lot of like separation energy and just around, period, whether it's separation between people because of political views, like, you know, all this Charlie Kirk stuff that's been happening. I've been seeing it on my timeline where people have just been like, raise your hand if you agree with this so I can get you off my friends list. I don't care how close we are. So that's been happening. Or, you know, if it's just anything, like your opinion on whatever, there always has been separation to some extent between, like, you know, racial things, economic status, sexual orientation, or gender, whatever. But now it's just getting down to like even just attitudes and beliefs and all of that. And so y'all stay safe out there, like protect your peace at all costs. I'm big on that. At all costs, protect your peace. I think I do know is it's cuffing season coming up, so you know people like to circle back and see like, hey, what you up to, what's going on. So definitely if it's somebody, and this could be male or female, because it doesn't matter, like people will circle back during cuffing season, and it doesn't have to be a romantic thing. It could literally be like a friend that, or a person that was a friend and wasn't a good friend to you, and they circle back because now, you know, the world feels kind of lonely. Like a lot of people stay inside during the winter and now they're trying to come back in, and it's just important to just maintain your balance at all costs and protect your peace, because it's just too much going on today. And honestly, I feel really bad for people that aren't tethered to like any kind of like system of faith or morals or whatever, just something that they can kind of like ground themselves in, so when things start happening they know they can turn to this place and they can always find balance. Like whatever your practice is super important now more than ever. I know a lot of people ask me all the time, like, how do I tend to stay in a place of just kind of like just ease. And for me, like the biggest thing is just being authentic to myself. Like whenever I haven't been authentic to me, that's when things happen. So like whenever I've had people around me that made me feel bad or were draining my energy or just weren't good for me, and I just continued to let them be around even if it was like harmful for me, that didn't work for me. Or if I even had somebody around, like, because sometimes these people don't have bad intentions. Like sometimes it's somebody who, they have the best of intentions. It's just how you mesh with them isn't working for you. Because sometimes I've had people who, they didn't mean me any harm, but they weren't the type to allow opinions of others that didn't match with theirs. They weren't the type to be open to having those people around. So I found myself being in an environment where in order to get along with this person, I had to shrink myself and be quiet and not say certain things. Like I was walking on like whatever it is you're walking on when you're tiptoeing around, like eggshells. Yeah. So even that, it's just like, nah, I can't do that. And it's, you're a great person. I love you. I wish you the best, but I'm not going to be in an environment where I can't be authentic to myself and I can't speak because it might get you enraged or upset or whatever just because I had the audacity to speak my mind. It's like a lot of talk about nervous systems, and I'm so happy that people are learning about how to regulate their nervous system and what triggers certain things, because that's a real thing. If you're around somebody and just their normal habits just seem to kind of trigger you, then you need to pay attention to that. And on the flip side, I do want to say that whatever does happen, like, you can have whatever emotion or feeling you want, but how you act when you have that's a big deal. Like, you can't, so I'm not giving anybody the leeway to be going around saying, get out my face because I'm protecting my peace. Go over there, or telling people off and stuff. Like, that's not good. Like, when you have emotions and stuff and signals in your body, like triggers, that's supposed to be information for you. That's supposed to be information to tell you how you should move and how you should, you should kind of, let me step back and process this and figure out how I can interact with this person from a place of love, not from a place of calling them the devil, the enemy, the worst of the worst, just because you are reacting a certain way to their energy. That's crazy to me when people project stuff on someone else. Like, that is not where you're supposed to go with this. You're not supposed to project things on other people just because however y'all are mixing together feels harmful to you, because a lot of people don't have bad intentions. They really don't know how they're affecting you. They have no idea until you tell them. And so when you tell someone in a loving way, now if they ignore that and they're just like whatever, and they blow it off, now they've broken like a boundary, like they've stepped past your boundary and they've shown that they don't care about your feelings. So then there's a little bit of intent there, but don't go around assuming bad intentions from people, and like, learn how to deal with your stuff. There's so many things happening today where people don't know how to deal with their own stuff, so they project it out on other people. And so I'm definitely seeing the divide that's happening because of that. If there's any kind of rapture going on, that's the rapture. Like, the divide between the people who are okay with doing the work and the people who don't want to do the work. The divide between the people who understand that when something happens, I can do the work to process and become a better person and have developed more emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, and how to regulate myself and do the work to be who I need to be for myself, without putting that on someone else to change themselves to be comfortable for you. There's a definite divide between that type of person and the person that is like, I'm never wrong, and whatever I feel, if you're making me feel bad, that's your problem, and I don't want to change. And the fact that you won't let me use you in the way that I want to use you, now I'm mad at you, because obviously you're here for me to use you to make me better and me happy. And why wouldn't you let me use you? Don't you love me? I mean, they don't say it that ridiculous, because that would be ridiculous. But basically that is what people are saying. If the second you put up a boundary of like, hey, no respect, no disrespect, no disrespect, and all love given, but I can't be this for you right now. I can't do this for you right now because I'm trying to protect my peace, and this wouldn't work for me. And if they just start to get evil and mean and lash out at you because of that, then yeah, basically they're saying like, I only like you when I can use you. Now that I can't use you, I don't like you no more. So just guard yourself against that, because that's happening so much and so often, and it's making me really realize how many people in the world don't understand what it means to like love somebody. And I do have empathy for them, because usually that comes from people that don't know how to love themselves, or they haven't experienced love of any kind, like from anyone. Because love usually comes from a place of acceptance. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to sit there and set yourself up to like be the punching bag for somebody that you love and just take whatever they're dishing out. But it does mean that you accept them for who they are, what they're showing to you. Like it's a choice to accept it and then recalibrate your energy and their access to you accordingly. So if they're, everybody has faults, nobody's perfect. So just think about it. Am I able to engage or interact with this person from a place of mutual acceptance of our boundaries and mutual love and care and empathy and all of that? Like, is this somebody that there's a mutual cooperative environment of acceptance, or am I only able to relate and engage with them if I'm shrinking myself and making myself small in order to make them feel better? One's love and one's not, so there's a lot of that going around. So just stay safe out there and protect yourself against people like that. Try not to become that kind of person. I hope that anybody that watches my content is not that type of person or is trying to get to that point. Not somebody that is just like, I'm fine and comfortable with the us and them mentality and just making people shift and shape shift and change to fit into my world. And that's it. Because that kind of makes you a narcissist, I think. I mean, it's definitely on the spectrum of narcissism, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all I want to say about that. I think I just felt led to share because I've seen so much of that. And yeah, so like I said, if there's any kind of rapture, that's the rapture that's happening. Not so much people's bodies being lifted into the clouds. They're walking away like Elijah in the Bible and like being lifted. Like it's not that happening, but there definitely is a separation between certain people, and there's a recalibration that's happening where like your circle's changing. I know my circle's changing a lot, where I'm kind of like finding more like-minded people out there that are kind of going through the same experience. And it's like minds are kind of gravitating towards each other. So there's definitely that divide, because usually if you're that type of person that loves yourself, which usually means that you give yourself grace, but you also speak the truth to yourself. You're not coddling yourself. Like you're a truth teller when it comes to the people around you and yourself. So usually when you're that type of person, you have to understand how to take that from other people. And so speaking the truth will usually naturally isolate you, because people that do not like criticism and do not like to be shown their bad sides or whatever, won't want to be around you. And the only people that will want to be around you are the people that have no problem with you pointing out areas that they need to develop, because they like to grow and learn and be a better person. So you'll naturally kind of find your tribe in that way, or at least that's how I've seen it happen in my life. So let's get to the book. So if you don't know, I released the archive, the records of Atherra. It's available for free. So I'm still trying to figure out how to just make it like totally free on Amazon. And I am able to do that. I've got that confirmation. So I'm just trying to get the tech part of it together so that it's totally free on Amazon. And if you like to buy things on Amazon, you can get it, but also it'll be totally free everywhere. So not just Amazon, but just wherever you buy, purchase, and read books. But until then, it's free for Kindle Unlimited subscribers on Amazon. Is 99 cents if you don't have that, but you only pay the 99 cents if you just want to read it on your Kindle or whatever, because I'm giving it away on my website through BookFunnel. So it's really simple. You just sign up for a BookFunnel account. You can read it on your phone, whatever device you have, the web, it doesn't matter. Through you read it through their app. So in the meantime, that's how you can grab it for free, because that was my whole intention behind it, is for it to be free. I don't like not it's I mean it's the size of a book, it's the length of a book, but it's not an actual full book. So I wouldn't charge for that. So yeah, get it free, you guys. So without further ado, I want to present to you the book. There it is. There it is. I have it pulled up on my iPad. Yeah, big writing because my eyes aren't what they used to be. So anyways, all right. So this is the book. It is literally that. It says the Archive Records of Atherra, and that's what it is. Atherra is the name that I used for where the gods live. So I guess in our term it would be heaven, would be what Atherra is. But this world is kind of different in that how I created it, the gods that I'm speaking about are not like the ultimate creator of everything. So in the book, I actually explained the symbol that I made. I made this symbol myself. But you see, there's this, I don't know if I can zoom, but you see there's this center, spark in there. The symbol kind of symbolizes, that whole principle where the center spark would be God, the creator of all things, that single source where everything came from. And then it is spread, existence kind of flowered or ballooned or expanded from that. So each layer of existence is another level of consciousness, I guess, if you want to say it that way. So the gods that are in Atherra came from that central spark, and they split into, there's 12 of them that first awakened on Atherra in heaven with no memory of before, and they kind of expanded and multiplied from there. But the original 12, and they're called the originals in the book, those are the ones that are the gods, the original gods that are in Atherra. So this book it's called The Archive, and it's the history of the beginnings of that place and their story. So like I said, the originals woke up in Atherra. They woke up in their god bodies, looking, women looking all snatched and how they want to look. And they realized it was 12 of them that came together and found each other initially. Like I said, those are the originals. And then in Atherra, randomly, other gods began to appear later on. So they're not the only ones there, but then also some of them paired up and had children. So that's how they multiplied. So there was some multiplying based off of union and them creating babies, and then some multiplying by just waking up one day and being oh, there's a new one here. Hey, who are you? And over time, as more were added, more pairings and all of that happened. So more babies were being born. And then it got to, and the 12 that were there first, the originals, became part of what is the divine council. So that's the elders, I guess, and they're in charge of making most of the rules of what goes on in Atherra. So that's a little bit on them. So the 12, all of them are paired up except for one, that's Sati. So of the 12, there's 2 twins. Rama is one and Sati is the other one. Rama is paired up with Sheba. Sheba is an oracle. She's the celestial oracle. So basically she can kind of predict, or she has insight on how things will happen. She doesn't have all-knowing insight. She's not God, the creator of every and all things. So she's not all-knowing, but in certain things that are pertinent and that relate to her and her loved ones, sometimes she can kind of tap in and she'll get an intuitive hit about that. So those Rama and Sati are the ones that kind of, their beef is the reason why we have this story that I created. So basically, after kind of multiplying and creating an Atherra, Rama and Sati decided, hey, we want to create a world. Like, we think we can do this, because all of them have this part of that divine spark, that center spark, and that's a creative spark. So they came upon a way eventually where they're like, I think we can create our own world and do this the same way we came here. We can do this again with something that we create ourselves. So Rama and Sati, they're twins, and they're talking about it like, yay, cool. That's about the only thing they agreed on. So when they started discussing how do we make this world, Rama decided he wanted to make a world with beings that are like the ones in Atherra, where they have free will to do whatever they want. He wants to create the world based off of what he's thinking about, and create these beings that can live there and just make their own decisions. But he also wanted to create a way where the Atherans, the other gods and goddesses, can reincarnate into the world through the beings, and they can experience it too if they want to. If they decided, hey, I'm, like almost like how we were like, yeah, I'm gonna take a trip to Europe or something. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna take a trip to Earth and, spend some time there and just get a break. So he wanted to create that, the place that we know as Earth. Sati didn't want that. He wanted to create a place where he could basically have like little minions, and they did what he wanted them to do. Like, he wanted to, like Sims. He wanted to create Sims where it's like, no, I tell them what to do and I can experience it and I can have freedom and I can have free will to do whatever. But these are NPCs, non-playable characters, and they just do what I tell them to do. And that was his idea. And so they disagreed. Yeah. And if you have boys, and if you've seen brothers, and I can imagine it's the same with twins, like when they disagree, it's not just that, oh, we disagree. It, like, the ego's involved, it just becomes this all out fight. Like, no, who is going to win? Because I'm going to get my way, and either you're going to fold or get trampled on, basically. And so that's what happened with them. It became this huge cosmic war that began. And the only difference is that while Rama has his match, Shiva, Sati has nobody. And that's kind of his choice a little bit. But I'll get into that if I ever write a prequel. But I wrote it in my notes because I had to come up with this whole thing to write the book, but I haven't written it in like story form. But so Rama has a match. He has Shiva. She's an oracle. So she told him, like, he asked her, like, what do you think? Should I do this? And she was like, yeah, go to war with him because you're going to win. And so he was like, oh, yeah. Like, he walked on the battlefield with his chest high, his head high, because he's like, she already done said, I got this. So boo-boo for you, basically. So obviously, like, they went to war. And I kind of correlate this with the Big Bang theory that, like, is what started Earth. So they went to war, boom, there was a big bang, explosion of energies, because both of them are pure energy. And Rama used the chaos of that bang to create the world and our galaxies and our universe. And so that's kind of how I, like, meshed science and my own theology of this world together. So Rama wins the war, and at the end, Sati is salty. Sati is salty because not only did he lose, but then he finds out, wait, you knew from the beginning you were going to win because your wife told you. And Rama is like, sex for you, I can't help you. You ain't got no woman that's helping you. Like, so Rama's like, well, tough titty, basically. No titties because you ain't got no woman, and that sucks for you. So there's a little bit of resentment there because Sati feels like Rama cheated, and Rama is like, I didn't cheat. Like, me and her are one, and I just asked my woman what I should do. She told me. So there's a little bit of that, but also Sati is salty because of the fact that Rama created the world, and because of Sati's resentment, he basically stopped, he was kind of ostracized from that council of 12 because he literally started a war and fought against them. So basically he was cast to earth to be a part of Rama's creation. He was like, you know what, while I'm reigning with this planet, you don't get to be up here, go down there. So he sent him to earth, and Sati, and part of how I wrote it is like Rama sent him to earth, but also Sati wanted to go because he was just so salty about being in Atherra. Like, he didn't want to be around his brothers and sisters no more. He was just like, I don't want to be around y'all, like, put me on the earth. So it was both of them agreed mutually, and he went to earth, and then this thing happened, and that's kind of how we get the core tension that creates the reason behind the story that comes into Fallen. So once Sati comes to earth, he decides, oh, okay, you made this earth, that you made this planet, you gave these people free will to do whatever they want to do, so I'm going to use that against you. So Rama's whole idea was like, I'm creating this, I just want them to enjoy, love each other, frolic, be free, make love, make babies, like everything we do in Atherra, in heaven. And Sati was like, nope, I'm salty, so I'm going to use this against you and throw it in your face. So he started going around and basically just creating chaos, telling people to do certain things, creating confusion. He had sex with a couple of women, made some demigod babies, and had them going out wreaking havoc. And, he decided, since you gave them the free will to do what they want, I'm going to influence them to do bad. And what this ends up doing is Rama's world can only exist if the balance between evil and good is level, or at least if it tilts a little towards good, because he doesn't want it can't be all the way good, because then it's boring. Like, a lot of us, we learn stuff, we experience life, we're gracious for things that happen in life because we've been down, we love the up because we've been, so it can't be all the way good, but it also can't be all the way bad, because that's apocalypse, right? So Sati is trying to force an apocalypse, because then the world would end and he has a chance to make his own. And so basically it's this war between Sati and Rama, where Sati is trying to build up his own army, since he's been thrown out of Atherra, to combat his brother and his sisters in Atherra and have the chance to create his own world. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the conflict that started Fallen. Like I say in the book, I do draw my inspiration from the Bible in a lot of ways, but I make it different in that it's just not so hateful and rigid, and, because Sati, at the end of the day, Rama is his brother. And at the end of the day, he also understands that people's experiences on earth aren't final. So suffering that happens on earth, Sati understands that once they aren't on earth anymore, guess what? They get to go to Atherra and be in heaven, and have a great time. So in his mind, it's not that he's like wanting people to suffer and all of that stuff. He's like, look, I'm doing you a favor. I'm going to make it suck down here really, really bad. So I'm going to send you to a better place. And I'm going to you're going to help me in the process, because I want to create my own world. And there you go. So, so there's not this evil, there's Satan. And that's why I named him Sati, because Sati is short for satire. He basically is set in this place to make a satire of Rama's creation. It's like, I'm going to use it against you, and ha ha ha, look, and that's why I named him that. Rama, I created Rama's name because of the sun. Ra is, light, the sun. And that's how I came up with his name, because in the book, Rama he's not the sun, but the sun is his spark, is his energy. He sits where the sun is, and what we see of him is just the sun, his energy, his light. You can't see him because he's somewhere behind there somewhere. I don't know, and we can't look at the sun for long anyways. But yeah, it's just his radiance that he uses in order to keep his creation going. And so that's the background behind the two names of the twins that are the reason this story began. Also, so in Fallen, Nasir is Rama's son, and he's on Earth. But again, Rama and Sati are twins. So how I made Nasir is that even though he's Rama's son, he has a lot of the same views as his father, as he wants to see people live happily and care, like he doesn't want to do any harm. He has a lot of the views of his uncle, in that he's very cynical, because he's been on Earth, he's been in Atlanta of all places for a very long time, and he's seen so many things where he's just like, just smite them all and let's start again. Like, he's seen too much to be hopeful anymore. He's been around all of what's happening, and he can just see how most people are siding. Like, there's so much evil in the world. So even though he loves his father's idea, he's just like, you failed, so pack it up and let's start again. So that's kind of his background. Of the twins that are his father and his uncle loves him, because Sati is like, yes, like Sati has no kids, he has no woman. So he's just like, yes, this is the son that should have been mine. And at the same time, Rama is like, this is the son that's my only hope, because it's his only son that's on Earth who can help to keep the balance from tilting towards evil when certain incidents happen at the beginning of Fallen that require Nasir to take his place as, to take his place, to fulfill his destiny and keep the balance from tilting. So basically to fight against his uncle, technically. Family rivalry. But yeah, so I mean, my intentions with this series is to just encourage thought, because like I said, I got the thought or the idea from a scripture in Psalms that pointed out that, God has a council, and how Earth was created initially was he was supposed to sit in heaven, and he had assigned all these other lower level gods to different areas in Earth, and the point of them was to encourage and encourage people to do what he wanted them to do, live life and be free and enjoy each other and all of that. And what ended up happening is that instead of doing that, they which I guess lets you know in the Bible that the gods have free will as well, but they ended up encouraging people to worship them and to worship lust and money and, make idols out of all of these other things, gluttony, greed, all the 7 deadly sins. Instead of turning them towards love and union, they had them worshiping power and control and all of this ego. And so then you have these fallen angels that were casted out of heaven because of their disobedience. And I decided to create a world that's similar to that. Yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. Yeah, so that was my intention with it. So in this book that I've put out for free, like I said, just grab it for free. You'll see the archive. I have this preface, so I let you know that this book was inspired by the Bible, but it is not a Christian romance fantasy. It's not like, if you want to read this and you expect not to see any cursing, any sex, any triggering things, that's not what this is. I'm a romance author, okay? And also I'm a modern woman, and I live in the real world. Like, we be getting it in here. Like, that's just real life. As good as we want to be, nobody's perfect. And so my characters aren't perfect. Now, I'm just not the author I'm not an erotic author, so I'm not going to have like sex on every page. That's just not me. And I'm not a person that is just bleep, 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 cursing all through my books, because no, I've worked with business partners, audio partners who, the people that are reading, they don't want to be talking like that. They got reputations. They are affiliated with SAG. Like they're not about to do that. So that's just not how I write, period. So you're not going to see a lot. And so I would say if you're a Christian, you can read it. It's not a big deal. Just come on. Just be a real person. Like, be a real person. Okay, that's all. So yeah, I go over the origin story that I just told you. That's the origin story. I go over who the council is. Rama, the creator of Earth. Sheba, the oracle, his other half. I have Zubera, and Zubera and Ashika, they're over Africa. So I talk about like the territories that they manage and their gift, like, because all of the gods have talents and they have gifts, and their gifts are extremely strong because they're coming from like the spark that created it all. So theirs are strong, and because, like I said, that they reincarnated on Earth as well, and they have descendants on Earth. Even some humans have pieces of their gift, but it's not as strong as these gods, and their gifts is not strong as the God that came before them, because the spark gets smaller and smaller as you go down the pecking order, right? So Zubera and Ashika are over Africa. They kind of guard the ancestral pathways. I did that deliberately because Africa that's where it began. Like, the first humans were there. So look, need I say more? Then I have the couple that guards the Americas. And so this Khazer is the God, and he examines hearts. So he can kind of look at a soul or a spark in this book, and he can see the intentions behind and the motives behind their actions before they even say anything. He can read the intention of that person. So he can see to the truth of them regardless of what their actions are. Amayali is the spirit of the waters. So she kind of controls the water in all forms, and that relates to human emotions. So she can also shift emotions in people, and if she's around, she can calm you and balance you and give you, calm your emotions enough for you to have clarity of thought. So that's her power. Tajir and Melani are over Asia. And Tajir, he's the one that built empires, ancient empires. So I love looking at documentaries of ancient empires. I'm so fascinated by, like, when they talk about all of these empires, like in Egypt and South America and stuff, that had all of this knowledge of things that we didn't find out until eons later. Like, some things we're just finding out, but somehow they had it, the pyramids and all of that stuff. Like, somehow they were able to have this stuff, and nobody knows how, because we don't even know, So Tajir basically is the one I created as the explanation to that. Like, when he was down here incarnated into human form, he is the one that built a lot of those empires. He hid knowledge for, as breadcrumbs to his descendants that would come later. And he also is in charge of collapsing kingdoms. So none of the gods are destroyers. So when they see something kind of going awry, they give people time to self-correct. But if they don't, he's the one that comes in and is like, look, your time is up. The fall is happening, right? I don't know. He might be looking at America, at the U.S. right now, because it ain't looking good. But anyways, Milani, his counterpart, she's a dream walker, so she can move between your dreams. She's the one that might give you visions, warnings, prophecy through dreams. Like, that's her That's her thing. So both of them deal with knowledge. He did it physically, she does it through the dream world. We have Karan and Tayani, and they are over all of the like Pacific islands and all of those territories. That's all of theirs. So Tayani is the one that, like, I think about like the Viking days and when they had all of these songs that told stories and had history embedded into them. So those, she's the keeper of historical knowledge and ancient knowledge, but she delivers it through song. So even when you think about like sound bowl healings and like vibration and how a lot of people receive healing and emotional healing, all of this stuff through sound, like that would be her. So she's the one that can use sound, vibration. She can plant music into different artists that might be able to tap in with her, and she can hide knowledge into that. And it might be through myth, you know, it might be through mythology where some of it rings true, even though it's like a mythology tale or something. But even so, that's how she does it. And also her words can become binding. So this is like when you think about people that chant and all of that, and they call themselves doing spell work, which, you know, whatever, like just be doing stuff for good. That's all I got to say. But anyways, if that's your thing. But anyways, like she would be that person that's being channeled into that. Karan is the chaotic, like storm energy. So he's, you know, motion, wind, lighting, hurricanes, tornadoes, all of that. His purpose isn't to destroy, it's to renew life. So, you know how certain storms happen and they suck, but they bring people together and they encourage people to cooperate. Like sometimes he'll be the person or the one that's like setting that in motion to create unity, you know, renewal of things after the storm. I have two alternates, Kalum and Elsaria. They're over Europe and they're alternates. And the reason that I made them, and I hope this don't get me canceled because look, I love everybody, but the reason I made them alternates is because I made it so that they were late to join the council, and that was deliberate. So if you count everybody, there's actually 14. So there's the 12 and then there's two alternates. Calum and Elisaria are alternates because from my historical diggings into all of the many documentaries that I've seen, we know that the first humans were in Africa. They were dark-skinned, very melanated, and different things happened throughout history during the Ice Age and such, where then you had the emergence of a lot of people that we would call European. So, so that's why they were late to the council, because once that group of people developed and those territories became populated with a new person or new people with different experiences, they were brought into the council to govern that. So Calum is, he is over like enforcing divine order. So he can speak decrees into existence. He keeps the universal laws from bending. So he'll step in to correct things, but yeah, he'll step in to correct things. Elisaria, she's the oath keeper. She can detect a lie. She can see through every lie and deception. So both of them are over a group of people that are kind of young in the ecosystem of things. So, and you know, yeah, the others, the people that were already there are a lot older and more ancient. So their group is a little younger. So there's a little chaos that comes from that. They're the babies of the group. What else do I want to point out? Oh, I do want to point out with them that Calum and Elisaria also have the ability to telepathically communicate. So some of the pairs can communicate with each other telepathically, but it's not a gift that's given to everybody. So usually if you can do it, you don't tell other people that you can do it. You kind of sit there and talk to your other person without letting everybody know that you can do that. Yeah. because if people knew, then they'd be like, oh, y'all just, it's like a one up. It's like a couples thing. Like, look, we got this. You don't need to know what we can do. And then lastly, we have the last two is Sati. Obviously, I told you about him. His seat is vacant. He's not sitting in it because he's not in the council anymore. And then I have Lorraine, and she is the self-contained original. So I have her where she kind of looks androgynous, because the rumors are that she was supposed to be Sati's pair, but they didn't pair up. And then when he did what he did, she didn't go with him. She stayed. So over time, her features became more androgynous than feminine. And it seems like her power also grew. So she's more powerful than all of them, is the thought that she might be. But then again, they don't really know what all she can do, because she's mostly quiet and doesn't talk much. But she also has mastery over time and memory, and she can alter how time is experienced. So that's a pretty sneaky power to have. Yeah, this is the symbol of Atherra, and I explained it to you already with the central spark, and then, all of the levels that come from it. So yeah, I hope I explained that right. But it's like, the center spark would be, like I said, the God that created us all. And then you go through, you have the gods in Atherra, then it's like human race or whatever race, I guess before what we are, which is like Homo sapiens, they was like cavemen and stuff. I don't know, Homo sapiens, something, all of those other. So maybe those are other rungs, who knows? Or, later in the world, I'll probably develop some other things, but y'all will know about that later. Then I go over the realms. So Atherra, the divine realm, the earth realm. Velmara is the shadow world. It's like the upside down from Stranger Things, if you've seen that. But that's the shadow, that's kind of where people get stuck. And so my thought with Velmara is like, if you've ever seen somebody that's schizophrenic or that has really deep psychosis or mental issues, it's like their body is here, but their mind isn't. They're elsewhere. They see other things. Their mind isn't here. So that would be like where they are. They're in Velmara, where, yeah, their body's here, but there's a split. They're stuck in that space. So yeah, it's like a nightmare, basically. The void is beyond the veil, and it's like the split where Sati and his little minions are. So they can't interact with the world or the people in the world. They can send impressions of themselves through it, but they can't physically come over. So yeah, energetically they can. So like they can kind of manipulate people's dreams, or maybe change a song on the radio, or they can do certain things, hide the remote or something, but they can't like physically come over unless they tap into somebody's body. If somebody's out here channeling demons or something, I don't know, like why you do that, but yeah. Then I go over the humanity and the divine bloodlines, and this is where I had so much fun, because you have like humans, you have us humans, and every human has enough of Rama's spark inside of them to live, create, love, make choices. That's a part of Rama that he gave to everybody that's on earth, for them to be able to live in the world. That's the one thing that connects everybody. Everybody has his spark, his consciousness in them, but just enough to like live, right? And then you have ember-born humans. Those are the ones that have more spark than the ordinary, because not only do they have Rama's spark, but they also are a descendant of, like, their bloodline is connected to one of the gods, the original gods that came down here and lived in the very beginning and had families and all of that stuff. So when those original gods came down, their spark from whatever descendants that they created is in those descendants. So those are emberborns. They have more spark than normal, or they can be called embers. then you have the redemption seed. So the redemption seed lies in some of the women of the Ember-born line. And so my thought with this, I don't know how it even came to me. It came to me randomly one day. I was on a walk and the idea just popped up and I was like, ooh, that's awesome. Actually, I do know how it came to me, because when I was creating this world, I don't like the idea of somebody being damned to hell forever. Like, that sounds ridiculous to me. Or someone being, like, because of a curse on their life or because of circumstances, they're just ruined forever. Like, I just don't like that idea. And I think it came from, even when I think about the story of Judas, where a lot of people are like, yeah, he was born to do that and sucks for him because now he in hell. And I was like, that sucks. Like, that sucks to think people can be born to do something that's so bad that they'd automatically be sent to hell after they do that deed, regardless to what happens after. Like, he chose to end his life, but, like, let's say he didn't and he just continued living and he just was like, oh my God, I'm so bad, I'm so sorry I did that. Like, is he still gonna go to hell because he betrayed Jesus? Is there no redemption for him? You know, but anyway, so I thought about that when I was thinking about my demigods that I was creating, or the rogue gods that followed Sati. I didn't want them to, like, you know, the demigods he created, their father is Sati, but I wanted to figure out a way where they could be redeemed, and that's how I got the redemption seed. So in the Ember-born women, in their womb, they have the redemption seed. And that gives them the ability to redeem these gods through true union. So let's say a woman who has the redemption seed falls in love with one of Sati's sons. And he's just horrible. He's just a whole narcissist, but she truly loves him. Then through having, you know, relations with him, there's something that can trigger him to decide to change his ways and to no longer be a Sati son anymore. Like, he can literally, there's a possibility where he can be redeemed. Because the idea is all of the demigods are basically, their fate is to join their father. And that's not in Atherra. They have to go to, like, where he is in torment and waiting until Rama's world is done, until he's like, I'm done, I'm going to create something else, then they're free. But if they can match with a redemption seed woman and they truly love her, and this is true love, not manipulating her to be with them, not lust after her, but if they truly love her, then through her they could be redeemed into God form, where they can actually, once they leave Earth, they go to Atherra. And so the main character in this book, Nivea, she's a redemption seed. She's an Ember-born woman who has not only the ability through true love to redeem demigods, but she also, through true love, can redeem gods that are on Earth who haven't, you know, like Nasir, who haven't stepped into their divinity all the way. And if she does pair with a fully incarnated God like Nasir, it has the ability for her spark to ignite, to make her a full goddess on Earth. So that's the thing with them. And that's why it's so necessary for them to get together, is because not only will it redeem Nasir and he will be in his full God form, but she will be in her full goddess form on Earth, and they would be able to offset the balance that Sati's doing, where he's leaning everything towards the evil. So, and also, yeah, am I gonna say that? No, I won't say that. Well, I'll say it because it's in here. So Nivea is an Ember-born of Sheba's line. So she has some of the celestial oracle capabilities. Hers comes through dreams. She's able to, like, dream things that are prophetic. So then here I go in through the incarnated gods, and I tell you about that. I already said that. The demigods, I tell you about them. The angels, they're messengers. These are all of the divine beings so far, because there's more, but just so far for the book, first book. Incarnated gods, demigods, angels, there's watchers. The watchers are angels or humans that have broken divine law. So you can break divine law by being a tyrant like Hitler, or somebody would be like a watcher. You've created so much destruction on earth that now your punishment is to watch and try to influence from beyond the veil, try to influence all of these people that you created so much pain in their life. Your punishment is to correct that. So the watchers, those are humans who did so much dirt here, even to other people's families or even to their own families, that now they're punished to live beyond the veil and try to work as hard as they can to send nudges through to different people to correct the wrong that they set in the world. Or if people ended their lives prematurely, they can become a watcher, because then they can see how, like, they might have thought on earth that their life was worthless. But it's like now you can see that your life wasn't worthless. Like, it was a gift to people around you. And then they're able to, like, choose. Humans can reincarnate again and set things right or enjoy the life that they might not have enjoyed the last time. So nothing in my world is punishment as in like we're punishing you to make you miserable. It's more of like a timeout. Like, let me give you a timeout so you can see that you should have appreciated this gift. And then guess what? You can have the chance to experience it again now. Like, there's no like one and done, because I just think that concept is ridiculous, but whatever. And the last being is we have the divine assassins. And so Nasir is a divine assassin. And these are gods that are employed by the council to be on earth, and they're supposed to go after demigods or even gods that go rogue and commit egregious crimes and violations of divine law on earth. So, so that's Nasir's whole job, which of all the jobs that the council could give him, based off of his personality, this is the only one that he would accept, because like I said, he's very cynical. He's not doing anything in his mind to help humanity, because because in his mind it's like, why every time I do something they go and mess it up. So they gave him the job of being the divine assassin. He goes and he hunts gods or demigods that are like when you think about like cult leaders, like that are raping women or doing horrible things to women and other people, and if they are able to do that because they have some kind of like demigod spark in them that's given them these heightened levels of charisma and power, then Nasir comes and he handles that. So yeah. I list the 7 divine laws. Like anything, there may be things added to it, but this is what I came up with when I was thinking. I love 7. 7 is the number of completion. I made 7 laws. Number 1, taking innocent lives without remorse is a divine law. That would be breaking the divine law. Rejecting the existence of the divine. So, yeah. Just saying, like, there is nothing. I just came here myself or whatever. Taking one's own life is against the divine law, because that's like rejecting the gift of existence. Because again, being here is a gift. So rejecting that, would be breaking one of the divine laws. Corrupting or enslaving another's free will. Defiling sacred unions by using love or sex for domination instead of creation. Breaking divine oaths sworn by the spark. So if you like when people swear to God that they'll do something or whatever and they break that oath, or they're doing it intending to break it, that's breaking divine law. And crossing realms without sanction or piercing the veil illegally. So people who like I said, like people that are doing like little things to be able to dabble in areas they're not supposed to dabble in, that's breaking the divine law. And all of it is like one of those things where, like, you know, if you did it 1 or 2 times and learned your lesson, okay. But if you're like deliberately, like continuously doing this, then somebody like Nasir would come and handle that. I also go over afterlife and reincarnation. Like I said, death isn't the end, not here, not ever. Where a spark goes depends on how it lived, whether it stayed aligned to Rama's idea or went to Sati's. So yeah, like I said, there's no like forever punishment here. The worst is like you can be held somewhere until you learn your lesson, and that could be forever, or it's up to you. Like if you learn it quick, bye. If you take years and years and years and years, that's up to you. I feel like that's how life is. Like we go through cycles over and over and over until we learn our lesson. Like our own hell that we create is only as long as like we make it go, you know, like nothing is forever. I know in the Bible it says like hell is forever, but I think that's just so subjective. Like I was telling my son, I grounded when I ground my kids, and anybody that has kids knows this, you can ground your kids for a week and in their mind it's forever. Like after it's done, they're like, oh my God, you had me in there forever. And it's like, dude, it's been 2 weeks. That's it. It wasn't forever. But in their mind, it's forever. Like they were suffering. And so I just feel like the forever is subjective to the person, because anytime you're suffering, it feels like forever. It just doesn't make sense to me that there would be this eternal hell, because living in the world and looking at all the stuff God has made, nothing's eternal. Everything has an end date. Like everything's constantly changing. Everything is constantly moving. The only thing that is not moving are the things that are dead. And God is life. God is love. It just doesn't make sense logically that God would create this space where, hey, if you mess up and there's one life I gave you without any instructions really, then you're going to burn forever. Like, no, I think it just didn't make sense. So in where I created, this hell is not forever. It's literally until you learn your lesson. Like, do you understand what you did? Do you forgive yourself for what you did? Are you ready to move forward? Like you sit there until you go through the healing process of getting through it. And that, I mean, we do that here on earth, like as living beings. Sometimes people live in a hell that they've created for themselves, and they live in it for their entire life just because they've not forgiven themselves for something they did, or forgiven others for something they did. Or, you know, so they just sit there, and it's like, you could have wrapped this lesson up in 3 months. And now you drug it out for 50 years. But that was your doing. Nobody did that to you. So that's how I created that eternal place. There's no eternal fire. There's no nothing. It just sucks for as long as you choose to sit in there. But before you remember who you are, and you're like, hold on, I ain't got to do this. God made me, like, we good. So yeah, that is my reading or summarizing of the archive. You can, after that is done, I actually give the first 7 chapters of Fallen in here, so you can actually read the book. Like you have all the knowledge of the before, then you can read those 7 chapters. And then at the very end, I have a Q&A with, there's some people that I let read this in advance because, I mean, they read it before like the final was done, because I needed those opinions to kind of see like, hey, do you get what I'm trying to say? Does this make sense to you? So those people, I did an interview, and I listed like the questions there. My answers are there written. So if you have any of the same questions, it's there. I have a note about the series, but I've pretty much talked about everything I said in the note. And so there you go. The next step, because the series is, the first book is done, so the next step is I'll have some beta readers look at it. If you want to be a beta reader, hit me up on my website, because I'm always looking for people that can read things and give me feedback. But I'll have them read it, and once they're done, the book will be out. So thanks y'all for this. Thanks for listening to this long video. This is the longest video I've ever made. I need to get something to drink and eat, and yeah, I'm tired. So thanks guys. Again, get the book. It's free. Thanks so much. I love y'all, and like this video, please. Subscribe to my channel. I'll be here again with something else at some point. Bye.